let's start drawing some objects with the pen tool. And I've got the Lesson 6 file open here. And it's a template that we are going to use to help us draw a swan. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it better. And you can see that we've got some letters and dots and such. So first thing I'm going to do is go to the Layers panel and make sure that I'm on the Artwork layer. I'll just click that layer so it highlights in blue. I'll close that panel. I'll get my pen tool now. And I want to change the fill. So I'll go over to the Properties panel, open that up. I'll click that white square there on the fill, and I want no fill. So I'll click that icon with the slash, the diagonal red line. So it's none. And for the stroke, I want it to be black and the weight to be 1 point. So I'll close that panel. Now I'm going to use the template to begin drawing the swan. And you can see we've got some letters here, some red dots, some gold dots, and so we're going to use that to help us draw the swan. So I'll start at A. I'm going to click, hold, and drag at A to the red dot. So I set an anchor point. Now I'll move over to B, click, hold, and drag to the red dot, and that creates my first curve. And when I move my pen tool, you can see what's known as the rubber band, and that kind of gives us an indication of what direction our curve is going into. So the next point we're going to set is at C, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag to the gold dot, and without releasing my mouse button, I'm going to press the Alt or Option key on a Mac and then drag down to the red dot, because that's going to change the direction of our corner point there. And now I'm going to move the cursor over point D, and I'm just going to click to add an anchor point. Now I need to change the direction of D to turn it into a curve. So I'm going to hover over that point again, click, hold, and drag to the red dot. Now I'll move the cursor over to point E, and I'm going to click and drag to the red dot. Now the next part of the path needs to be straight, so I'm going to change the direction of the handle on point E. And I'm going to move the pen tool over the point E, and when the Convert Anchor Point icon appears, which is a little caret, I'm just going to click and set the anchor point. And then I'll move the pen tool over to point F and just click. Now actually I want this line to be curved, so I'm going to move my pen tool over about in the middle, hold down Alt or Option, and when I see the change in the cursor to a little curved, I'm going to click, hold, and drag up. And you can see that we've added some direction angles there. So now with the pen tool, I'm going to hover over F, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag up to the red dot to make a new direction handle. Then I'll move over to G, click, hold, and drag up to the red dot. Then I'll move over to point H, click, hold, and drag down to the red dot. Now the next part of the path needs to be straight, so I'll remove the leading direction handle, and I'll move the pointer back over to H, and when that Convert icon appears, that's a little kind of upside down V, I'm going to click to remove that, and then I'll just move over to I and click to set another anchor point. I'll move the pen tool over I again, and when I see that convert point icon again, I'm going to click and drag from point I to the red dot to add a direction handle. It's kind of hard to see there because that part of the beak is in the way, but I'm just going to click, hold, and drag up to that red dot. Now I'll move over to J, click, hold, and drag to the gold dot, and I'm going to hold down Alt or Option, click, hold, and drag down to the red dot. Now I'll move over to K, down in the lower right area there, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag down to the red dot. So that's continuing our curve down there. And now all we need to do is finish and close the object here. So I'm going to hover my cursor over the A anchor point, and when I see that little circle there, I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key and click, hold, and drag. You have to hold down the Option or Alt key for this to work. So I'm going to hold down the Option key or Alt key and click, hold, and drag over to the left and kind of align it with the template. So that's closed our path and created our swan. So what we've done is drawn a series of curves, changed directions with our pen tool. And so now I'm going to select that object. I'm going to open up the Properties panel, and for the fill, I'll click that icon. I'm going to fill it with white. And I'll click the stroke color, and I'll choose the color that's kind of a light beige color that says Swan. That'll put a beige stroke around it. And then I'll close that panel and deselect. And there we've got the beginnings of our swan. So we've done a lot of work with the pen tool, creating curves and changing directions.